Hello everyone, it's me Valerie from Stampin' with Valerie, and today I am going to share with you a fantastic project. It is actually 5 projects. We are going to be making using the Beautiful Autumn stamp set. We are going to use 3 different ink colors: Melon Mambo, Old Olive, and Early Espresso. Who knew those 3 would be so pretty together, right? So I'm going to set this aside, and the first thing we are going to do is we are going to put together one of the mini paper pumpkin boxes. Now this is going to hold our 4 little cards. So when you get your paper pumpkin boxes, the mini ones, there's a glossy side and there is a flat white side. Your flat white side is the outside because this is food safe in here. So all you want to do to start is just give all of these a good crease where they have those score lines. So just go through all sides and give it really good creases. And so if you need to pause the video here, go ahead and give your paper pumpkin, your mini paper pumpkin box scored, fold it if you want to. So now the great thing, I guess, is if you wanted that for the outside, you could use the glossy side for the outside. It's up to you. I kind of like this other side for the outside because then you can sponge it. You can do whatever you want to color it. Today we are not going to be coloring it. We are just going to be decorating the top of it. So I've already got some pieces cut, and what we're going to start with is a piece of Early Espresso. Then we have a piece of the Gilded Autumn Designer Series paper, and we're going to use this speckled side. This reminds me of a speckled egg, so I call it the speckled egg paper. So we're going to start with these 2. And now if you wanted the pumpkins, you could do the pumpkins as well, but I'm going to do just this speckled egg side. So go ahead and use some adhesive, and you're going to layer your Designer Series paper onto your cardstock. Then we'll layer on a piece of copper foil. This is from the metallic brushed cardstock, or brushed metallic, I think it's called. And you're just gonna put that in the middle, down the bottom, wherever you want. I'm gonna put it in the center, just right across the top. Now you could use whatever. You don't have to use the copper. You could use the gold or the champagne color that's in there. But I like this copper color. And then take this whole piece and adhere it to the top. Now again, as you know, I like to use this Stampin' Seal Plus, but if you want to use Tombow or a different tape runner like the regular Stampin' Seal, that's fine too. It's whatever you want. Now you could go through and cut cardstock to cover the sides as well if you want to. I didn't do that for this project. I just did the top. These die cuts are from the, oh my goodness, Stitch So Sweetly dies. That's what these are from, Stitch So Sweetly. And we are going to stamp My Heart Is Grateful for You, and we're going to do that in Early Espresso. And then we are also going to be stamping and punching out some little leaves and acorns as well. Now, you could do these in any color that you want. It doesn't have to be the colors that I've chosen, so you do it the way you want it done. Actually, I probably should have left that open because I think I will use that again for the acorn. So basically, just grab some scraps of Whisper White. Just regular Whisper White is fine. And this will be plenty. This was a little bent up. That's why I'm going to use this as a scrap, even though it's already been die cut. It was a little bent. So just save things like that and use them for scraps. So I will stamp that fantastic little acorn. Then I'm going to stamp with Old Olive one of the leaves, and then I'll stamp one of them in the Melon Mambo. And then we're going to punch these out with our punches. Because if you haven't seen, I'm going to show you here in just a second, the Beautiful Autumn bundle has a punch trio that goes with it, and they are an acorn, a maple leaf, and an oak leaf. So I probably should have put these all in the same direction, but that center leaf or that end leaf is in the opposite direction, but that's okay. So just punch out your acorn, flip it over this way to punch out your maple leaf if you stamped it exactly like I did. And then punch out your oak leaf. And then we are going to be adding these onto our card with some mini dimensionals, and we'll probably stick them together with some glue dots first, just so they're kind of a little bouquet of fall goodness, I guess we'll call it. But we also want to make a bow with some of our linen thread. So don't cut it off if you have it on a roll like this. Just leave it on that roll and just make a little bow. And then after you get your bow finished, then you can cut it off. Now, you know me, I normally don't measure if I cut a piece off. And then I always end up with lots of extra. So I'm trying to get better at that. I don't know if I will all the time, but sometimes I am. So I've got my bow ready. I want to put some dimensionals on the back of the sentiment. So I'm just going to use regular size dimensionals for that. If you only have mini dimensionals, then just use mini dimensionals. That's fine. And I'm actually going to put 4 on here because I don't want it to sag at all. And now as I'm making this, I'm thinking about how many people I could give this to as a little gift. I think it would be a fantastic hostess gift for Thanksgiving. Now, if I was doing that, I might make the cards, because we've got some gorgeous cards, and I'm going to be using that Beautiful Autumn stamp set for all of them. I might give it ahead of time so they could actually use the cards before Thanksgiving, or you could also turn them into birthday cards or just plain thank you cards. And actually the sentiments that we're going to be using, I guess, are kind of all occasion too. They aren't just for fall, so that's good. But just having this cute little box with a little set of note cards in it is just adorable. So let's take these, our little bouquet of acorn and leaves. And I think I'll put that acorn right at the top because I kind of think it's cute. And I was going to hook them together with a glue dot, but instead, since I'm going to be using dimensionals anyway, I'm just going to stick it together with a mini dimensional. So I just stuck that mini dimensional right there where they all come together on the stems, and then grab another one and just kind of stick it to hold them up there. And then we will add those directly over here on this edge. And then that gives it just a little bit of color on the front. But then for the little bow, I definitely will use glue dots. Let me find my glue dots. And I just stuck my finger in the green ink that was back there in the old olive. And you kind of want to fold, because our glue dots are a little bit, they're mini, but they're a little bit big for those bows. So just kind of fold it in half, stick it to your bow. Then you can stick your bow right on here. If you try to do the full glue dot, you're going to have a bunch of adhesive around. That's why I kind of fold it using the Take Your Pick tool. So how cute is that for a little mini card box? I love that. It's adorable. All right, so let's set this aside and we will get started on the first card. So the first card is going to be with very vanilla mini note cards. And so when you order the mini note cards, you get envelopes with them. So you'll have envelopes to add with these. So I took a smaller piece of very vanilla that's going to fit on the front of the note card, and I ran it through the oh my gosh, I'm losing my names right now. The pine tree, I don't even know what it's called, but it's a brand new 3D embossing folder, and I'm losing my train of thought on everything today. Anyway, that new pine tree one, it's super cute. And then we're just gonna go ahead and do dimensionals on the back of this. And once we get dimensionals on the back of it, then we will just add it right to the front of the card. This is a super simple one. And again, super adorable. So I put a couple in the middle just to keep the center of this from sagging, just because you want to make sure those trees stand up nice and proud. And you can put these any way you want. So this is the front and this is the back. Oh, wait. This is the front and this is the back. I'm putting the back card out because I want that image kind of pressed in. So I'm showing you what they would call the debossed side, not the embossed side. The other side is the embossed side because the images are up. All right. Then we're going to take our other little piece here, and we are going to stamp "Have a Beautiful Day." Again, you can use whatever color you like. I'm going to go ahead and use the Early Espresso for this. And then we can use the Banner's Pick-a-Punch to trim this end. Now, if you don't have the Banner's Pick-a-Punch, you can just use the regular Banner Triple Punch, or you can just cut it off at an angle, you know, put your scissors this way and have an angle, or you can cut that little banner yourself, however you would like to do it. So I'm just going to cut that little banner. And we're gonna put this right here on the front, kind of in the middle, because on this side, we're gonna take those punches again, and we're gonna use some of the Designer Series paper from that Gilded Autumn Designer Series paper, and we are gonna punch an acorn and probably one of the cute little oak leaves as well. So we'll punch that. Then we'll punch one of these oak leaves. So that is one beautiful thing about this Designer Series paper, is that you've got all these leaves and acorns that you can punch out. So if you want to do them without stamping, you can. They're just going to be this color. You can't just stamp them and you can't get any color. It's just whatever color is on there. So go ahead and add some dimensionals to our little banner. I'm going to do 3. And actually there is an extra one. I was getting ready to cut these. Add these first. We're gonna make another little bow, and we're gonna kind of do the same thing that we did on the front or the top of the little card box. We're gonna stick these two together, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it again with a mini dimensional. Just stick them together. And then we can add one more to make sure they stay together. And it'll be right next to it because there's only the 2 of them. I wanted to make sure it wasn't showing through on the front, and it's not. It's pretty good. So we'll add these, and then we'll make another little bow and stick another little bow on there, and this card will be done. Look at how cute that looks when you add those on there. It just adds something. It's just a simple, cute little note card. And again, you could change it to say happy birthday or thinking of you, any of those kind of things. It doesn't have to be from this stamp set that I'm using. But I really, really love this stamp set. So, all right, so go ahead and cut your bow. Go ahead, do the same thing with that glue dot. Just fold it in half. And then stick the knot of the bow onto it. Add that to your little note card. And there's your first note card. How adorable is that? Love that. I'm going to set that right there so you can still look at it while we start the next card. And remember, because this is recorded, pause this video at any time so you can catch up, because I might be moving a little faster and you might be trying to still pick out stamp sets while I'm actually, you know, already stamping. So the next thing we're going to do is another Very Vanilla note card. We're going to do 2 in Very Vanilla and 2 in Whisper White. You could do them all in Very Vanilla, all in Whisper White, however you want to do it. Now, the Gilded Autumn Designer Series paper is actually, has Very Vanilla on it, but it still looks good with Whisper White. So I thought I would try a couple of them with the Whisper White. So now this piece of Designer Series paper has those fun stripes on the back, or you've got all these gorgeous metallic leaves and foliage. So I'm going to use that side as the front, those the leaves and foliage. So I'm just going to layer. Now, this extra piece of Very Vanilla is just to give it a little bit of dimension, because we're going to put dimensionals on the back of this. So this is kind of lifted up off the card, but it gives that Designer Series paper a little bit of thickness, so it stays better or holds up better, so it doesn't sag as much, because that cardstock is definitely thicker than our Designer Series paper. So I'm just using all my little edges here. You know I like to do that because we do not want to waste any of these dimensional pieces. Why would we do that? Because there's lots of goods left over on those sides. Again, 1 in each corner, 2 in the middle. So I hope you are all having a fantastic day, and I hope you're having fun working on these cards and projects. I hope you're getting lots of crafting in, because I know for me it's very relaxing to sit and craft, and so I know it's not just me, it's other people. This is literally sometimes my sanity is coming out into my craft room and just crafting. Right, another piece of that copper foil, and this is just a little 1/2-inch strip. And we're just gonna add that right to the front. I didn't get quite on that end, so I'll add a little more. And I'm gonna go right down the center again, just like I did on the front of the box, or as close to center as I can get it. That looks pretty centered to me, at least from where I'm at. We've got a stitched oval. This is from the Stitch Shape dies. And we're going to use that same sentiment we used on the box, the My Heart is Grateful for You. And again, I'm going to use that early espresso because I think it goes pretty with this. So now, even though I consider this more of a Thanksgiving type sentiment, it isn't necessarily for Thanksgiving. It could be for anything. So I think that's why these are perfect little hostess gift, because they can be used for any time. I'm sure you can probably hear my washer in the background. I'm doing double duty here. My laundry room is right next to my craft room, so I apologize if you're going to hear buzzers going off in a minute when my washer and dryer are finished. But it's like, gotta do some multitasking to get everything done. So for the leaf on this one, we're going to punch a leaf from some of that gold brushed metallic paper, and we're going to punch a maple leaf. And we're only going to do one. We only really need one. We'll put a mini dimensional on the back of this, and we're going to dimensional it right on this little, I'm losing both of the backing is coming off as I'm trying to stick it on here. So we're just going to put it right here, and we're going to use that twine again to make a bow, but this time we're going to try to make a little double bow. So we're going to pull a little bit extra, and we're gonna double it. Now you don't have to double, you can do just single if you want to. And I'm probably gonna end up with way more than I really want. Maybe not. Because once I trim that, that's gonna be actually kind of perfect. Just had a little bit extra on that side, so I'll have a little bit bitty piece left right there. And then we just have a cute little double bow. Love that. And then same thing with the glue dot, fold it in half again. Seeing a pattern with these little bows, right? And I'm just gonna stick it on here actually this time so you can see how I've folded it in half. Hopefully you can see that. And then we'll just add that little bow right there. And that's our second card. My heart is grateful for you. Adorable. All right, third card, we're gonna start with a Whisper White. I gotta move my little gold foil out of the way that I had there. A Whisper White card, and we're actually gonna add some Very Vanilla on the front as well. So now, when you see this together like this, it's hard to tell that this is Very Vanilla here, but I'm gonna use a piece of Very Vanilla on the front. So it's however you want it to be. And this card is going to be from a different orientation. We're gonna do a horizontal orientation, not the vertical, because we've got all of our little leaves going in this direction. So we will start by layering, and when that would be super pretty even with that side as well, but I want to stick with the leaf pattern that we've been doing with the leaves. So we've got kind of a symmetry to all of our cards, but again, flip it any way you want it once you've got your pieces cut. And then we're going to wrap our cord around this time. Or our linen thread, sorry, not our cord. Our linen thread, we're gonna wrap it around. So then we can have a little bow on this side. Oh my goodness, if I can actually keep a hold of it. And again, see, when I don't measure and I just cut like that, I end up with way too much. But I still go along with it and keep doing it. That's my problem. I haven't learned to fix my... It's not a mistake so much as it is just a little bit of extra ribbon. But I want to leave these long anyway, so I'm just going to trim just a little bit off the ends of them. So I've got that long bow. Isn't that cute? And then we'll go down the back. I didn't stop this on the 90-degree angle. And I'm just going to jump right over that linen thread. And I want to make sure it looks straight before I do this side. Because when I do this, when I jump over like a ribbon or a thread, I try to definitely do the sides first to make sure I have them even. And then I go back and do the tops and the bottoms with. Now, if you accidentally go over the edge a little bit like I did right here, the wonderful thing about that Stampin' Seal Plus is it'll fold right over because they have little score lines in them, and they just come out in little tiny, it comes out in little tiny rectangles. So it's easy to fold them over. Right, so for the front, we are going to use this Life is Better With You. And again, I'm gonna use Early Espresso just because I like the way it's looking on all of these. And now my piece is a little bit big, so I'm going to stamp toward the bottom, and then I'm just gonna get my paper trimmer and trim a little bit off from that because it's a little bit big. It's a little bigger than I planned on it being. So I'm just gonna put it here in my paper trimmer and just trim a little bit off. I don't want to trim too much, but I want it to look kind of even. And then I'm going to take just a little bit off on this side as well. So there, now I have that cute little sentiment, life is better with you, and I don't have a lot of extra cardstock around it. All right, so for this one, because I'm actually gonna stick it, actually, we're gonna add our little piece of copper to the back of this first. So I'm just gonna put a little dab of that, and then I'm gonna lay our little copper piece down, and I'm gonna center this on there. So we have a little bit of it coming out from both ends of our sentiment. Then I will take some dimensionals and put on the back of this. Now these are going to actually help hold down that linen thread as well. So I'm gonna take some that are just a little bit wider, and I'm gonna do 4 of them instead of just 3 like I normally would. Because even though that is hooked down on the back, it's still kind of loose on the front just from the way I tied it. So this will help hold that down, and we're not gonna what was I gonna say? Glue dot this down, because this will be holding everything in place. Normally I would just glue dot that bow down, but we don't need to, because it's all being held in place now. Next thing is we're just gonna punch a cute little maple leaf. We'll add a maple leaf to this one. So I'm just gonna cut this little piece off so I can make sure this fits in, and I can still punch that oak leaf out from that other little piece. We're just gonna add a glue dot to the back of this. Adding the glue dot to the back of these is super easy. You just stick it on that glue dot roll, pull it up, and your glue dot is on the back. I'm just gonna add that little leaf right there. And that's our 3rd note card done. Yay! 1 more note card and we will be done, and we can add them all to our little box. All right, so this one's also gonna be a Whisper White one, because like I said, we're gonna do 2 of each. And now, I love both sides of this, so you can do it either way. And I feel like we've already done lots of shimmer, so we're gonna do this side with this, I guess it's a houndstooth pattern. Not positive on that, but I'm thinking that's what it's called. So we're just gonna put this on the front of the card. Then we're gonna stamp our sentiment on this little piece of crumb cake, and this is from the Celebration label dies, is what I used to die cut that out with. If you have not seen those dies, they are fantastic. I think there's 6 of them, and they're all in different sizes. So they, you can stack them on top of one another to layer, and they're fantastic. So we are going to stamp thank you on this one. So this is going to be a thank you card. And because I'm going to be using some different colored leaves, I'm actually going to use the Melon Mambo on this, because I really think that's pretty with that early espresso and very vanilla background. So I'm just gonna put thank you on there. And then I'm going to tie a bow around this, because look at all these fantastic little, right at the ends and on the bottom, they're kind of little V's that are already die cut into this. So we could easily pull our, thread around, our linen thread. And I think what I'm gonna do to hold this linen thread in place while I do this is I'll put some dimensionals on the back just to hold it in place. So let me grab my little dimensional pieces here, because we got lots of little pieces. And I'm just gonna kind of line them down to hold this in place. So it's gonna look like we have a ton of dimensionals on here already, and I'll probably add a couple more at the top and the bottom. But for right now, I just want it to hold that there so I can tie this because I want my bow to be right on this edge. So this will hold that in place on the back. And you don't want to pull it too tight because then your little label will curve. And you don't want it to curve. But this way our little bow is right on the side. How cute. And then you can make your loops a little bit smaller. And then when that goes on here, we'll trim that in just a minute. But for right now, let's leave it like that. Let's add a couple more dimensionals on here. And then we're gonna grab some scrap paper again and we're gonna stamp some of those. One of each of the leaves and acorns again. And we're gonna use the same colors that we used for the front. We're gonna use that Early Espresso, Old Olive, and Melon Mambo. This is actually my favorite little card in this whole little box of cards. It's super adorable. I love it. So just add that in. Put that in the center. Then you can trim your little bow, the little tails. Then we'll grab another piece of Whisper White, just a scrap, and we'll stamp that acorn again. We will stamp the maple leaf again, and we're gonna do it the right way this time. I say the right way, but the same direction this time, so we don't have to flip it around. And then we'll do Melon Mambo again for that oak leaf. Actually, I need to do that one again. I'm too close to my edge over here. There we go. All right. Punch our acorn. Maybe if I put the punch on there the right way, it might look okay, right? Punch the acorn. Punch our maple leaf. And I got that just in the exact right spot because I thought I might have to re-stamp that one, but I got it on there. Yay! And then we'll punch this one because it's actually all the way on the paper. And it almost went to the floor, but I caught it. All right, so put a little mini dimensional on the back of each of these. And then we're gonna add those right to the front of this as well. And it's gonna be super adorable. Now, I'm not gonna cover the ribbon this time. I'm gonna go just so a little bit of each of them is touching the ribbon, but it's not actually gonna be holding them down, holding the ribbon down. It's just gonna be there. And then we'll do that leaf like that. So they're all kind of upside down, so to speak, I guess. I don't know how you would say that, but that's the direction I thought they looked the cutest, so that's how I did them. So let me pull these stamps over to the side so they are out of my way, and I can put all of these cards right here for you to see. Look at how adorable those are. I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope you have a fun time making these. If you were a part of my October class, this is what we made. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Have fun, post some pictures of what you made. I would totally love to see them. Thanks for joining. Bye.